Check it.
What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, and today we are back with some more Need for Speed 2015 content. And today I'm going to talk you through Speedlists, Need for Speed's PvP mode, and talk about how you can be better at it, what cars you're going to want to run to win, and basically how you can make the most of it on day one when this launches this coming Wednesday. Or maybe you might be watching this in the future and it's already out and you just want to be better at the game. I'm going to give you a few tips, hopefully, to make you better, because I've played like 400 hours because I have no life, and I have way too much free time. So anyway, let's go ahead and get straight into what cars you should run first, I guess. Okay, so for the speed races, it's pretty simple. If you want to win, you're going to want to either choose the RSR or the Hot Rod. And that's basically it. There's going to be a lot of RSRs in this mode, I can already see it. I'm going to try not to use it just because I like being different. I don't like using the same car everyone else is using just because it's good. I'm probably going to stick with my R32 and see if I can find an absolutely amazing tune for it. But in terms of just driving a car which is very, very good at everything, the RSR is amazing. It doesn't do very well in straight lines if you tune it more towards a circuit build. However, it'll be good for most people. You'll beat most people in an RSR if you are half decent at the game. And then the Hot Rod, you don't have to tune it or anything. You literally just buy it and drive it and you'll be fine. So like, really, it's completely up to you. Depends on what you want to do with it. My advice though is don't be that guy in the RSR and try to get something else, because I can see it getting really annoying when loads of people are in the RSR. So just like, I'm going to say, don't pick either of those. Pick your favorite car and try to get the tune perfect, because I truly believe if you get it on R32, for example, that's my favorite car, it's what I use all the time, and you tune that to perfection, that will be able to beat an RSR if someone isn't very good at the game. Another quick tip for the speed races is to make sure you get out in front immediately, or you stay behind, wait for everyone to crash, and then go forward. If you try to get in that big pack at the start, the chances are you're either going to get lucky and you're going to go in first, or you're going to crash out and you're going to basically lose the race. So my advice is either to stick back or just go balls deep and just go for it. It's completely up to you. But usually it's probably the more sensible idea to either stay back or kind of go all the way in front if you're already at the front of the pack. And that's basically it for speed races. Besides that, practice, practice, practice. Make sure you get your tune right. I've got plenty of build guides on my channel for cars that are legitimately amazing. Like the Diablo's amazing, the R32 does really well, and then obviously you've got the Hot Rod and the RSR, which are very good for circuit races. But really, just practice, 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 and eventually you'll get better. And there's not really much else to do with speed races. I mean, with drift races, there is techniques you can use, and then obviously with mixed, we'll talk about that in a minute. There are certain things you can do to kind of enhance your performance, but for circuit races, really, it's making sure you're tuning your cars right, and just making sure that you don't get unlucky in the first corner and you get spun out, basically. So that's my tips, really. Make sure you don't get spun out around the first corner, make sure your car's sorted, and basically you'll be fine. Now, as for drift, this is where things get slightly bit more complicated. So, for OP cars, I think basically the only really OP car is the Huracan. And if you have the Huracan, you are going to win if you know how to drift. But this is where things get slightly confusing and a bit weird. With drift races, you've got Toge races, and you've got all sorts of other races. The thing is with the Huracan, you can get really sideways, but it struggles to get speed. And for Toge races especially, you want some speed. So really, my overall advice is to mix and match. And again, just try your favorite car and see if that works. I know for a fact the R32 GTR is an amazing drift car. You can basically skid anything in Need for Speed relatively well. If you want to get out in front and you want to try to learn how to use the Huracan in a PvP-based situation, it may be worth it, but honestly, just I can tell that the Huracan isn't fast enough, especially online against real life people, to stay out in front for Toge races, and that might be a problem. However, in normal drift races, it should not be an issue. For actually drifting and learning how to drift, I've already made a video on that, so if you want to go ahead and check the description down below, I'll go ahead and link it down there. It's got a whole guide on how to drift in Need for Speed. If you're a seasoned veteran, there may be a few things you don't know that are in there, so I do kind of recommend you to check it out. There's a few techniques which you can use to try and get yourself better at drifting. But yeah, honestly, the Huracan's the OP car, but you can basically skid anything, and I'd be wary of Toge races because, again, obviously you need to be out in front to get the multiplier, and that's a very important thing because you can basically double your score when you're out in the front of the pack. And then finally, you have the mixed type of races. So this includes both speed events and drift events, or style events, I should say, in the same playlist. And this is where, again, things get really tricky, more so than anything else we've mentioned so far, because you need to build a car which is not only just good at drifting, but good at racing at the same time. Now, there's always going to be a drift bias on your tune to be competitive. There should always be a drift bias. If you put it over more toward the grip side, it's just going to understeer, and that's not a good thing, especially when you're trying to get the oversteer for drifting. It's just not going to help. Now, in terms of cars for mixed, you can literally use anything, and I'm completely sold on that fact that you can use anything for mixed events. There isn't a clear, this is what car you should use and you're going to be successful with it, because honestly, the RSR isn't that good at drifting. It's a circuit car. Same with the hot rod, the Hurricane. You can use it for both, but it's still more of a drift car, more so than a grip car. I've mentioned the R32 a few times, and you can use that, but again, it's a bit hard to drift if you've got a grip tune on. And then, the RX-7, it's a good drift car, but not a good grip car. And there's loads of variables which you have to kind of maintain. So again, my advice is to go ahead and actually put some more time into the tune instead of picking the car. You can be successful with mixed events, regardless of what car you use. It's all about getting that tune right and putting some hours into making sure that tune is 100% perfect. I do recommend you have a drift bias on it, because again, that will speed up everything. But honestly, besides that, there's not much I can really say. Make sure brake drifting's on is a definite must, and make sure drift stability assist is off, and then just mess around with everything to make sure it's a good balance of both drift and grip, and you'll be fine. But you've just got to make sure that it's a good balance. You don't want to make it too drifty, so when you're going into corners at speed events at high speed, you end up going into a drift and you lose loads of speed. But then at the same time, you don't want to go into a drift race and you want to go into a corner and it's way too grippy and you're hardly getting any angle. You want to get a lot of angle. So it's finding that perfect balance in your tune, more so than finding the perfect OP car to use. And that's basically really all there is to it into being successful in these modes. In terms of the layout, I would say it's more important to be consistent than constantly go for the first place spot. If you come second every single race, it's very likely that you'll probably win just because of the consistency of the points, and at the end you're more likely to get a higher cash out. So honestly, it's all about consistency in these types of tournament modes. As long as you're consistent, I mean, you can literally be first, third, and you'll still perform better than someone who's come first and then last and then like second. Like it's all about being consistent in this mode, and as long as you're consistent, you'll be completely fine. And that's my advice to being good at Speedlists. Keep at it. It's going to take a lot of time and effort to get good at games, just like it does for CSGO or COD or whatever other game you have your PvP mode in, the crew, Forza. It's going to be the same for Need for Speed, so it's going to take a lot of time and effort, but once you're good at it, you'll be smashing noobs and you'll have a high MP rank and you can teach people who's boss. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope it helped you out. If it did, make sure to go ahead and hit the like, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one. You guys have been awesome. Stay safe and peace.